Spring break, 2014. It's my senior year of high school and my sister Mirna's senior year of college. The day before school let out, she convinced our parents to let her pick me up, citing that since we were both graduating, we should do something special. They weren't on board at first, but even when we were kids, Mirna had a way of convincing people. They agreed as long as we didn't do anything stupid. The issue with using that word is what it applies to often differs for people. We'd been on the road for about 3 hours, spending most of that time complaining about school. For Mirna, this was her first week off in months. Despite graduating on the honor roll from high school, she still needed to work on the side to even make a dent in her college costs. I could tell the lack of weekends off was taking its toll on her. She'd gotten noticeably paler while starting at her university and developed the bags under her eyes. "Why didn't you ask mom and dad to lend you some money?" "Screw that. If I did, all I would get from dad is, back in my day, we'd had to earn our education," all the while forgetting the fact that he and mum were in college. It was about 1/10 of what it costs now. I smiled at her impression of our father. "Yeah, they can be stubborn. I was planning on enrolling during the summer. Now, I'm not sure if it's worth it." "That depends. What do you want to do?" Mirna had enrolled with the intent of getting into the medical industry. 1 month of working in retail was enough to make her decide that the fewer people she had to deal with, the better. Therefore, she instead opted for a veterinary degree. I always wondered why she didn't do that initially. She always had a way with animals when we were growing up. I was thinking something creative, maybe a job in animation. I've been practicing with some Flash programs. I can show you what I've been working on if you want. Maybe when we get to my place." Mirna opened the seat console, pulling out a Ziploc bag containing a joint and a lighter. She opened it, putting the joint to her lips. "I don't think you should be doing that while driving." She rolled her eyes. "Don't be so uptight. I've driven like this at least 12 times. I shrugged, then felt my phone vibrating in my pocket. I checked it as she was lighting up and taking a drag. "It's Mom. Should I answer?" She nodded and let out a cough. Then I accepted the call. "Hey Mom, I thought you weren't supposed to check on us until tomorrow." "Oh, I'm sorry, Paul, but I couldn't wait. Lots of people are here on the road at this time of the year. It's dangerous. How's Mirna doing?" Mom asked how you're doing. "I'm fine." She says she's fine. Mirna accidentally inhaled too much, resulting in a coughing sputter. "I can hear someone coughing. Is Mirna smoking?" "No, one of those big trucks is in front of us," I said, giving some fake coughs. "It's blowing a lot of exhaust." "Tell Mirna to put up her windows then. Breathing that can't be good for you." "Will do. We'll call you in the morning. Love you. Bye." When the call ended, Mirna laughed. "What's so funny?" "Your acting is terrible. I don't know how the hell she bought that." I joined in, letting out some chuckles. "You got me there. Good thing it wasn't Dad or else." Out my window, I could see storm clouds in the distance. Lightning crackled in them. "Paul?" "Huh? Sorry. I just noticed it looks like we might be getting rain." "Seriously? What is it?" "Paul, I don't know if you've noticed, but my car has no AC. Why do you think I've been keeping the windows down?" "Well, maybe we'll luck out." Raindrops began pattering against the car. Or not. We rolled up our windows. It wasn't bad for the first 10 minutes or so. By half an hour though, the stuffiness was getting to us, and I was having to wipe away sweat. I figured more conversation would help distract us. "So, are you still seeing Kevin?" "No, he transferred schools. We tried doing long distance, but it didn't work out. That sucks. Yeah? What about you? Not currently. I mean, I did go on a few dates with this one girl. I don't think they went well because I haven't heard back from her. Keep trying. You'll get someone eventually. Thanks. Hey, is it just me or do things feel strange all of a sudden? What are you talking about? I couldn't put my finger on it. The best way I could explain this feeling is when you walk into a room with some new furniture. You know right away something is different. Your brain just hasn't registered what it is yet. The rain. What about it? Listen. We sat in silence for a couple moments. I don't hear anything. That's my point. Why isn't it making any noise? How should I know? But it's weird, right? Yeah, I guess. I don't think it's worth dwelling on. I decided to pass the time by watching some Death Note. In this case, it was a second relight special since I'd already seen the first the previous day. Halfway through, Myrna slammed on the brakes, making my teeth rattle and my heart beat faster. What was that for? Some dumbass parked in the middle of the road. The rain's intensity had increased to a point of limiting visibility. The front of Myrna's car had stopped several inches short of hitting a truck's bumper that had its taillights off. Do you think we should check it out? Screw that. Myrna got ready to keep driving. Hang on. What? This person might need help. Paul, if they did, they could have just pulled on the side of the road. Besides, if they have insurance, someone will come for them eventually. What if they don't? Myrna gave me a look of annoyance. She relented and pulled up to the truck's side, honking her horn. When the driver's door didn't open, she tried again with the same result. Do you have an umbrella in here? In the back. I found it on the floor, then got out with it open. It wasn't solely the Good Samaritan in me. Something wasn't sitting right with me about this situation. I think Myrna would have noticed it too if she wasn't stoned at the time. Condensation had fogged over the truck's windows so I couldn't see the inside of it. Out of curiosity, I tried the door handle and found it unlocked. The shock of what I was seeing upon opening the door caused it not to register at first. What my mind picked up on was dried red coating on the passenger seat and dashboard, and the fact that the passenger's window was shattered. What I noticed on the floor by the pedals is what made this information click. The first thing was a gun missing its barrel as if it had been bitten off. The other was a shoe which seemed perfectly normal except that this one still had the foot inside, as indicated by the bone sticking from it. With a scream I backed away, making a mad dash back to Myrna's car. "What the hell was your problem?" she yelled when I slammed the door shut after getting back in. Her anger dissipated when she noticed how shaken I was. "Paul, are you alright?" "Please, drive. I'll explain later." When I told her what I had seen, she listened diligently. "What do you think could have done it?" "Probably a bear. They aren't unheard of in this area. Look, I know it was shocking. Just try and forget about it, alright?" I nodded and attempted to do that by getting back into the Death Note special. While the bear was the most plausible cause for that carnage, something kept me from accepting it as an explanation. When it dawned on me what it was, a shiver crawled down my back like a scorpion. The rain still wasn't making noise. Hell, it hadn't even made any when I was outside. I was too focused to notice it before. I thought I was going crazy for hyper-focusing on something so trivial, yet, if it was, what was the cause of it? Side-glancing at Myrna, I observed she was relaxed behind the wheel. I thought about asking her if I could smoke to alleviate my anxiety. My instincts told me I should be alert. As we drove on, we came across something else that halted our progress. Myrna was slowing down. I was about to ask why when I stared ahead, seeing a faint red light piercing through the rain. We got closer. In the road center was another vehicle. This time, it was an upside-down van with a single working cracked tail light. The other one was broken completely. The truck, while containing shocking contents, could be chalked up to a logical explanation. A second vehicle, not only as damaged, but in almost the same position, made it harder to blame everything on coincidence. Even in her stone state, I could tell Myrna was also getting freaked out. After what I'd seen a mere hour ago, I wasn't eager to get out and investigate. Still, the fact the fan was on indicated someone had to be inside. "Wait here," Myrna said, grabbing her umbrella and getting out. I squinted to make out her shape in the downpour. From what I could tell, she was facing the van side. Kneeling, she saw what was inside and in an instant was backing away and doubling over. She'd let her umbrella fall to the road and was sprinting back to get inside the car. She closed the door hard, breathing heavily. You don't want to know, trust me. I think we should call for help." Both our phones lacked bars. God damn it, do me a favor and look straight ahead, okay? I tried doing what she told as we were passing the van. My curiosity won out and I stole a brief view of it. The mind is odd. All the time I spent grinding away at math in school, it seemed like something would stick. If I were asked to explain to you the difference between an equilateral and isosceles triangle off the top of my head, I'd draw a blank. Right then, however, 1 second was all it took to create a permanent scare in my memory. 2 hands were sticking from the van. One belonged to an adult and hung limply from the driver's window. The other stuck out from the back window and was much smaller. Neither of us wanted to acknowledge the situation out loud. I think we were both afraid that if we did, it would somehow attract whatever those people had fallen victim to. We hoped that we'd be able to get to our destination without ending up in any physical danger. The truck and van weren't the only things on the road. I dug my nails into my seat at Myrna's headlights illuminating what used to be a traffic jam. Shards of glass and scraps of torn metal were strewn about. The largest thing was a school bus on its side. We were really happy we weren't able to get a better look at it. This was short-lived due to what we found next. Myrna gasped and my breath caught in my throat. All over the road were ripped-apart corpses. They were mostly limbs. One person still had his torso, albeit with half of the head missing. "Turn around," I said. "You can spend spring break at our house." "I can't." "What do you mean you can't?" "I mean, I literally can't. I don't have enough fuel to reach another gas station in the opposite direction. My phone signal is still dead." "Mine too." We were about to continue, driving off-road to bypass the carnage, when we heard something that made Myrna once again slam on the brakes. I opened my mouth and she raised her index finger, then pointed to the bodies on the road. One of them was moving. We got out, rushing over to the person in hopes we could find them. It was too late. A woman, late 30s, early 40s, was staring up at us on her back, with one leg bent the wrong way and the other snapped with bone partially exposed. A pool of blood was under her. She was bleeding slowly, and from what we could tell, her jaw was dislocated. That told us she must have been laying there for a while. The agony in her eyes was apparent. Is there anything we can do for her? I asked, swallowing a nervous gulp and already knowing the answer. Myrna shook her head, but the new voice startled us. We looked down at the woman who we realized was attempting to speak. Back? Myrna said. The woman nodded. Was there anyone else with you? Is there anyone else alive? She shook her head. You think we should turn back? You think we should turn back? I asked, to which she shook her head again. Too far looking now. What are you looking for? Not me. It. What is it? Myrna inquired. The woman's labored breaths became rapid. Horrible. Doesn't make sense. Too many parts. Too many eyes. It came when the raindrops went silent, she answered. Keep going. Don't stop. Those were her last words before she finally succumbed to her injuries. Not a word was said when we got back in the car, nor for the next several hours of driving. Myrna was putting pressure on the gas. Whether that woman's words were the result of concussion or the truth, we didn't intend to answer. We kept our eyes straight ahead, ignoring anything else that came up. I tried occupying myself with games on my phone or anything, but my mind kept yanking me back to that lady's words. Myrna? What? Let's say the woman was right. Do you have anything we can use to defend ourselves? Glove compartment. I pulled it open and was stunned to find a handgun. Since when? Bad neighborhood. Don't tell mom and dad. Can I trust you? Of course, I won't say anything. No, I already knew that. I meant with handling it. Me? Overprotective parents aside, guns always repulsed me, and I wanted nothing to do with them. No, the other guy in my car right now. Yes, you. I don't know how to use one. I've never even held one before. It's not complicated. You point and shoot. Hopefully it never comes to that, but just in case. Without taking her side off the road, she took the gun, undid the safety, and placed it on a console. Given what was in the truck, we weren't sure how much good it would do. I kept my eyes peeled. For what? I wasn't sure, only that I would know it if I saw it. The cry of it alerted us to his presence. Imagine the sound when a CRT TV shorts output on a loop. Soon, this became amplified, and we felt like our eardrums were being pierced. Where is it coming from? I yelled in pain. I don't know, Myrna responded just as distressed. The difference was that I had the luxury of being a passenger and could cover my ears. Myrna had to keep her hands on the wheel. I searched for the source and spotted a pale blur between the trees that became more in focus as we got closer. My brain initially refused to register its appearance. It was like time had to slow down so I could process everything. What was now running on the grass in front of the trees vaguely resembled a human. The head could have passed for ordinary if not for the body it was attached to. Picture if a hairless human was somehow born with the bone structure of a horse. It had no feet, only clawed hands attached to each of its 8 limbs it was using to propel itself. Myrna, I yelled. She screamed upon laying eyes on it. My hand went to grab our weapon, only to touch imitation leather. The instant after, that thing somehow increased the speed and slammed into the car. Shit, Paul, find the damn gun! I dove into the back seat, managing to locate it under the driver's seat. When I grabbed it, the window behind me shattered, and I was grabbed by several limbs. One went around my neck, squeezing tightly and digging in with its nails. Out of instinct, I dropped the gun to try and pry it away. Stupid move, I know. Paul! I heard his mouth open behind me and his breath my hair bristle. As I was thrashing, Myrna seized the gun, aimed above me, and fired. The bullet grazed past my forehead and hit its mark. Its grip released and Myrna jerked the wheel, sideswiping it and making it tumble onto the road. While this did succeed in freeing me, the creature was now pissed off. The roar let out threatening to destroy all the glass around us. Its appearance had changed. Eyes akin to that of a fly had grown all over it, and its head had split open into a vertical mouth with needle-thin teeth. I climbed back into the passenger seat and got ready. Instead of breaking another window, it ripped off the passenger door. It lunged at me head first, and I shot as much as I could into its open mouth. Then I shoved it back with my foot. It caught its balance and continued its pursuit. I tried shooting at it from a distance and was met by clicking when I pulled the trigger. Please tell me we can reload this thing? Myrna's look made a knot form in my stomach. I think that thing realized that I gained the upper hand because I could have sworn its expression changed. The vertical line on its face shifted to a sideways smile. Our means of defense were depleted, and it was nearly on us. It leaped at the bumper, and then it vanished. To further this bizarreness, the rain did along with it, and we were left staring speechless at where that monster was chasing us only a moment earlier. I turned around and my eyes grew huge. "Watch out!" I screamed. There was a hill in front of us. Myrna gasped and attempted to slow down by hitting the brakes while yanking the wheel. This failed and the car went down side first. It flipped several times, and due to my lack of a door that I forgot to strap back in, I was sent flying. My right leg shattered when I had landed, and I was in too much pain to even do so much as scream. It sounds bad, however, considering that my side of the car was crushed against a tree, I would say I was relatively fortunate. I passed out after that. Myrna was able to dial for help, and they tracked her phone's location. Our spring break was spent recovering in a hospital. Naturally, our parents were hysterical and the police had questions for us. The most believable explanation we could come up with was that it was a hit and run. I suppose that's not entirely inaccurate. Either way, it worked. I felt bad for Myrna. Her first real time off in months, and she had to spend it in recovery. The bill of which she is still trying to pay off. It was 2 days after our admission. We were in different rooms and on the phone with each other. "Hey, sorry about this all," I said. "Don't apologize. It's not like any of it was your fault. I just wish we could forget about the whole thing." "Same." "What are you up to?" "Not much. Channel surfing." I was flipping through channels and stopped when I came across the local news. The anchor was mentioning a series of disappearances along the same route we took. Pictures of the victims appeared on the screen. My throat became dry when one of them was the same woman we watched die in front of us. "Paul, are you still there? Is everything alright?" "It's nothing. I got distracted." When I was old enough, I made it a point to train myself in proper firearm use. I'm still not fond of them, but I have one just in case. There's a scar on my chest from where it scratched me. Sometimes it aches, and I wonder if that means it's near or merely my imagination. Hopefully, that thing can't hold grudges. I'll conclude on this. If you ever get rain during a road trip but can't hear it, turn around and keep driving until it goes away. Then, find another way to get to where you're going. A downpour is happening outside right now, and its noise is music to my ears.